NBC has been pushing to make these games more digital, to put that coverage on the digital side. With the price that they are paying for it, is that all worth it?
Well, when you talked about those rights fees, there were 9 zeros in there. So no one channel can pay for all of this. It was interesting to see the hierarchy, though. On NBC, you got women's figure skating. On CNBC, you got women's curling. So they're still playing the legacy stick and relentlessly driving us to Peacock. They really want to obsolete the legacy channels and repair to a less regulated frontier on the internet where they're in more control and circumvent all kinds of do's and don'ts they can't do on the air. But just to pay the bill, you got to spread things out. And to Ben's point about being 13 hours away, these particular Olympics, for that reason, are very good reruns. They can schedule what they want when they want it. And I think what we've seen is that the Super Bowl just now, maybe the last vestige of, as you say, we're all watching it live. You know, February 9, 1964, all of America sat still, and Ed Sullivan said, "The Beatles." And you don't get that anymore, except for the Super Bowl. And these Olympics, because they're so expensive, because they're so far away, and because we are a digital world now, they've got to just spray it out on as many platforms as they can. Could Trump supporters flee mass media, and could citizen Trump herd them behind his own media paywall? Let's ask Michael Harrison, the publisher of Talkers Magazine, the trade pub of talk media, himself a talker, hosting the Michael Harrison Rap on Wonk FM in Washington, D.C., and other talk stations across the USA. And if you Google Michael Harrison Rap, you will hear something very unusual in talk radio. You will hear a host who plays it down the middle. And Michael, you've actually taken heat for not taking a position, correct?
Oh, there's no safe spot in talk media anymore. There's no safe spot in the American conversation, because if you're not with us, you're against us.
Give us the podcasting history. It's not that long, but it's very interesting.
Well, 17 years ago already, 2001, everyone had an iPod. And by 2007, nobody wanted one because along came iPhone, and it did everything the iPod could do and so much more. And at the time, this critter was invented for people to carry and share music. But this is an example of the user being ahead of the manufacturer, because the user figured out music, it's a sound file. We could make a sound file of voice, spoken word, and people started doing their own radio shows and passing them around on the internet. So at the outset, the term podcasting referred to iPod, but think of it today as POD, programming on demand, like Netflix for audio. I love that sign you hung in the newsroom at WTOP. Get it right, then get it first. Now, without editors or filters, those feeding social media contribute lots of what we now call fake news. How can the consumer know what to believe?
A consumer simply has to develop a good, healthy BS meter. And there's a fair amount of teaching we need to do to help them do it. We need to try to show them the difference between an actual news organization that has gatekeepers, people like editors or fact checkers who will say, "Are you sure? Do you have a second source? And by the way, 2 tweets is not 2 sources."
Declining circulation and advertising revenue as eyeballs and dollars are drifting digital, and with consumers expecting to get their news for free. And one newspaper is betting that free is the key to its digital transition. The 200-year-old Arkansas Democrat-Gazette is giving paid digital subscribers free iPads. It began in the farthest flung distribution radius, the most expensive places to deliver hard copies. They spent $12 million on thousands of iPads so far, and publisher Walter Hussman says he's ready to spend millions more. His letter to subscribers describes what he calls a complete disruption of the newspaper business model. Rush Limbaugh was the biggest star in talk radio, and every weekday for 3 decades, he A, told us so, and B, showed us why. He led the rescue mission for AM radio back when music migrated to FM, and he led a parade of Me Too political talkers, hosting what has become one great big Democrats, bad Republicans, good show. For nearly a year, Limbaugh soldiered on with advanced lung cancer, and he died in February. But Rush Limbaugh does not rest in peace. For the last 3 months, adoring guest hosts who call themselves guides have been playing back recordings of Rush, straining to relate what he said in the past to what's happening today. This awkward weekend at Bernie's effect has, for instance, asked a dead man to critique President Biden's address to Congress the morning after, or to react to the Derek Chauvin verdict. And just this week, we were told day 10 of the Hamas-Israel conflict. Here's what Rush thinks. The art of the short question. I remember he asked Bob Hope, who do you think is funny? And he asked David Duke, don't you ever get tired of hating? So fast forward 1984, I've worked my way up the management ladder, and I'm running WTOP Radio, the news station there in Washington. And Larry was our overnight show. And what a star. He was in Ghostbusters that year. Fast forward to 1991. I put Larry King's radio show on the audio system via satellite on United Airlines. We had a little tech startup company. It was called USA Today Sky Radio. So Larry is live on airplanes, and I heard him interview a passenger who swiped the credit card through the old GTE airphone. And Larry asked the passenger, are you in first or coach? And the passenger says, I'm in first class, Larry. And Larry says, how's the meal? So he was always on his game. So support your local newspapers by clipping the advertisers' coupons and subscribing. And when you see news happening, tip them off.